In a previous video, I compared Ghostbusters to Ghostbusters 2016 to Ghostbusters Afterlife. And so since Ghostbusters Frozen Empire came out, I thought I should review it. Right? Oh God. So let's review. Ghostbusters, the original. I loved it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's definitely one of my favorite comedies. Ghostbusters 2. It was a movie. Ghostbusters 2016, an abomination to film. Paul Feig should be sent away somewhere because he should never be able to direct a film again. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Yay! We're finally on target. Thank you, Jason Reitman. You finally get what Ghostbusters is about, and you're bringing it to the screen so that other people can't screw it up. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Oh, come on, guys. I thought we had this figured out by now. You start a Ghostbusters film with a horror sequence where we're all scared, and then you go into a world-setting sequence where we learn about the people. Instead of a car chase? Why did we go directly into a car chase? And it's filmed in a very weird way. It's really animated. It's almost like Gil Kenan, who's an animation guy, decided to direct. Oh, why did we do this? Why, Gil? Why? Gil, you're not a bad writer. Stay behind the writer's desk along with Jason Reitman. You guys seem to make a good team. Don't decide suddenly, I belong behind the camera because that's where I'm really good. No, you're not, Gil. Please, for the love of God, you're not. If you don't know who Gil Kenan is, he's a guy that previously directed an animated film called Monster House. So, of course, he tries to direct people like animated films, which is wrong. You haven't heard of him? Neither had I. So I looked him up, and it turns out he directed a film called City of Ember with a little-known actor named Bill Murray. Wait a minute. Why haven't I heard of this film before, even though it starred Bill Murray? Oh yeah, because Gil Kenan was directing him. Side note to all of this. Jason Reitman, after he produced Ghostbusters Afterlife, said, I need more car chases in my films. No, you don't. One is enough. The one car chase that you did before was enough. In this one, it completely suspends reality because in the other films, you might have noticed, Ghostbusters don't put anyone in any kind of harm's way until there's a giant marshmallow man making his way down New York City, and then they're like, oh, we need to cause harm, so yeah, there might be collateral damage. But in this movie, they're careening through traffic, and cars are swerving hither and toe. Hither and toe? You get the idea. The point is that they are causing other people harm. So when Peck, yes, they brought back Peck. Why did they bring back Peck, the most hated character of all the Ghostbuster films? It's like, let's bring that guy back for no apparent reason. When they bring him back and he's pissed off at the Ghostbusters, you're like, I totally get it. Yeah, they're harming people. So all of this is done in order to set up Phoebe as the person who kind of like goes off on her own because nobody likes her anymore because she's been talking back to everyone, including Peck, who everybody was talking back to, but that doesn't matter. She talked back to him more. So she goes to play a game of chess in the park, and when she moves a chess piece, another chess piece moves all on its own. And you think to yourself, Grandpa is back. But no, it's just a girl. I should reword that. I'm not saying it's just a girl. It's a girl that Phoebe suddenly has a crush on for no apparent reason. And here's where it gets weird. It's like, that is never developed. It's just like, oh, I have a crush on you because you're a girl and you appeared. So by the end of the film, when Ghost Phoebe and Ghost Girl meet each other, it feels weirdly forced. Don't get me wrong. You're sitting there and going, I'm waiting for them to kiss. But when they don't kiss, you kind of go, that totally makes sense because this whole section felt forced to me. And speaking of forced, everybody in this film is trying to make jokes. Everybody wants to be Bill Murray, but there's only one Bill Murray. In fact, in the original Ghostbusters, the only person who was really cracking jokes was Bill Murray. So when everybody in this film tries to make jokes, you're like, this is Ghostbusters 2016 all over again. It's everyone trying to be wacky, and no one is the straight person. What did I say in my last review? When everybody is wacky and nobody is the straight person, comedy falls flat because you need someone to react to what's going on, right? You can't just have a bunch of people making jokes. It falls flat. How dumb is this? Even Peck is making jokes. Why is he making jokes? He should not be in this film at all. He doesn't belong in this film, and it feels like he was kind of crowbarred in because we need someone who's an antagonist. And okay, he was an antagonist before, so let's just make him the bad guy again. All of this forced comedy leads to a moment where Kaylee is mad at Gary, and Gary's like, hey, who are you gonna call? And she goes, Ghostbusters. And he's like, who are you gonna call? And she's like, Ghostbusters. And he goes, well, you know, Bustin makes me feel, and she stops him. She stops him from making the joke. And that made me laugh because by that time I was sick of everybody making jokes. Keep in mind, I coach improv. I direct people to be funny. And so when I see a bunch of people trying too hard to be funny, it pains me. All of these jokes ruin the serious moments that would cause vulnerability. Like by the time it gets to Ghost Girl and Ghost Phoebe, about to kiss, it doesn't feel right because neither of them have really been vulnerable. Speaking of which, Ghost Girl feels really forced. It feels like Gil didn't know how to direct her, and he kept on telling her, hey, you know what, talk like the young people talk. Do a lot of those likes and that kind of stuff. So her character feels extremely forced, like she wasn't directed very well. Complete side note, why is it that Hollywood always has at least one character that has frosted blonde tips for no apparent reason? It doesn't fit in this film. They seem a little bit artificial because they are. Another thing that bothers me is that they spent too much time trying to explain the paranormal science. The greatest thing that they did in the original film is they didn't spend a lot of time trying to explain what a proton pack was. They're like, hey, it's a nuclear accelerator on our back. Oh, dangerous. All right. Anyway, let's move on. This is what I call the weird science paradox. If you remember Weird Science, they're like, we want to create a girl. Let's get a bunch of pictures of Playboy and just scan them into our computer while we're wearing bras on top of our head. Oh, there's a girl, she appears. And then they just sped past that. If you spend too much time trying to explain science that isn't real science, we are going to ask a lot of questions, as opposed to if you just kind of speed past that, we'll be like, all right, I'll give you that much. Let's just keep going. I get that paranormal science is real to the people that are really into it. And I'm sure that Dan Aykroyd, like with the first film, when he wrote a bunch of paranormal science into it, and then Ivan Reitman and the rest of the guys were like, let's just kind of trim that out and just kind of keep it down the down low. I'm sure that on this film, they had the same thought, but they didn't go with that instinct. So instead, we're left with these long stretches where we're talking about paranormal science, and I really didn't give a shit. I just wanted them to start blasting ghosts. Does that mean that I don't want you to see this film? No, I want you to see it. I want you to keep on supporting Ghostbusters films. Even though I thought 2016 was an atrocity, and I think this one is pretty darn bad, I still want you to support them, so hopefully they make one more and they get it right again. Please, guys, stop trying to be the funniest person on the block. By the time Patton Oswalt appeared, he had nothing left to do because he can make all the jokes that he wants, but they're not going to be funny anymore because we had to sit through so many people trying to be painfully funny that it wasn't funny anymore. All right, I think I got a lot of that off of my chest. Thanks for listening to me. Watch my other videos, and thanks for watching this one.